Hey there, it's Rosie, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I make my bread pudding. So to get started with my bread pudding, I'm going to start off with a loaf of bread. I'm using white bread, but you can totally use wheat bread if you choose. Now I'm going to cut all of the crust off, and then I'm going to cut my bread up in small cubes, large cubes, it doesn't matter, just cube up the bread. You can even tear it apart. In this bowl, I have 2 eggs that are at room temperature, and I'm just going to beat those eggs, and next I'm going to add some granulated sugar. Followed by the sugar, I'm going to sprinkle in some ground cinnamon, a little bit of ground nutmeg, and some ground ginger. Next, let's pour in some buttermilk at this time. And followed by the buttermilk, I will be adding a couple splashes of pure vanilla extract. So that is almost all of my wet ingredients. I almost forgot to add my butter, but I will add that later on. But you can add the butter right now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add my bread into the wet ingredients. I have a spatula here that I'm going to use to toss the bread to make sure it's nicely coated. And at this time, I finally remembered that I almost forgot my butter, so I'm going to add it in now. And just mix everything until the bread looks like this, okay? So it almost looks like oat milk. I love raisins, so I do add raisins to my bread pudding. If you don't like raisins, totally leave them out. That's completely fine. So please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it so far. I would really appreciate that, and thank you in advance. And now we are ready to pretty much bake our bread pudding. So here's my bake dish. I did spray it with some baking spray. I'm going to place all of that mixture into that bake dish, and then I'm going to flatten it out, make sure it's nice and even. And now I'm ready to bake this on 350 Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. And as you see, I did leave it uncovered. So after that time frame, remove the bread pudding out of the oven, let it cool completely. And for a nice and easy drizzle, I just use 2 ingredients, and that is sweetened condensed milk and a couple splashes of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to mix those 2 ingredients until they're well combined. And once my bread pudding is completely cooled down, I will drizzle this all over the bread pudding. Now you don't have to drizzle this all over. You can just leave the pudding as is and leave the drizzle for people that like the drizzle. There may be people that don't like the drizzle, so you don't have to add it on top. Next, we're just going to cut our bread pudding into squares or whatever you want to cut it into. You can even just dig it on out. And now, my dear, you are ready to serve. So here's 1 square. I'm greedy, so I'm going to need 3 squares. And as you see, it's nice and moist. This is definitely not one of those dry bread pudding recipes. So I'm definitely one of those people that like lots of sauce and glaze and stuff like that. So I'm going to just drizzle some more on top. And after that, I am ready to dig in. I really love this recipe. I hope you give it a try. And tell me what your favorite dessert is. Leave that down below. Now don't forget, if you are on Instagram, I'm there as well. So please come follow me and get to know me a little better. See you soon.